There
All
we go.
right,
We should be
welcome
live now.
everybody. Yeah, we should all be live. Some things with TikTok though, I think that it's interesting. It's really funny because I told Eric about this, and I've been noticing now that they're literally when I don't know if I'm wondering if you're noticing it, Victor, when you post videos on TikTok, if they actually say that it's under review before it actually gets posted.
Usually,
It does.
yeah, it does a copyright check. At least the ones I post.
It never did that before for me ever, and then it started doing it now. And then this is the first time before when I was setting this up yesterday, and I went to sign into Restream this morning. It's now saying like, sorry, you can't go live on TikTok, and then it's like now I have to get it. It has to be reviewed or something.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, real quick, I want to thank everyone from my channel and from Mr. Floyd's Universe for coming by. We do apologize for the time balls up, but we're working across literally 4 different time zones to try to coordinate this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
wait, actually, yeah, because Eric and I are in the same one. So,
yeah.
My apologies too, man. My apologies too, because I swear to you, I could have sworn I set it for 1 o'clock. Something happened with Restream. I don't know, man.
Looks like Josh will be out. He picked up a client. He picked up a client, so he's going to be probably out. He may be in later. We'll see.
Oh, like I said, my apologies, man. To everyone. I've been definitely going through it this week, and that's not an excuse, but yeah, I don't even know what happened. But we've been kind of planning 1:30 mostly each week anyway, and that's what yeah, I don't know. But anyway, how you guys doing?
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I've been doing okay, just getting the apartment in order, and then yeah, nothing too much beyond that. Just getting all the loose ends and stuff tied up. We're doing bunny bonding soon for our 2 rabbits, because they
What is that?
So rabbits normally, like, unless they like grow up together or whatever, you have to spend time to like bond them. And we've had our rabbits for a couple of years now, and we just haven't spent the time. Hi, Rosie. We haven't spent the time to do that. So there are like professional bunny bonders that like will take your rabbits for a week and like basically put them together and see if they can bond or if they're so some rabbit bonders believe that any pair can be bonded. Doesn't matter how bad it is, just any pair can. And then others believe that there are some pairs that just can't be bonded. So we'll see.
I love expanding my knowledge. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah,
That's
neither
awesome.
did I. So
wow, that's pretty cool. You know, I'll tell you, I have to agree with you, Darren. It's been an interesting week, and it never ceases to surprise me, the medicine we get out of all of our relationships with all of our communities and all the people we interact with every day. I have so much gratitude for that, because we have interesting things. And, you know, that thing is, I'll never tell you guys that I may not agree or vibe with everything that you guys, all your modalities and things like that. But, you know, I always listen, and as a seeker, you know, you're always looking for that. You're always looking for things. And some people say, oh, well, you shouldn't keep yourself so open to things. Pish posh, as far as I'm concerned. You know, the thing is there's so much knowledge out there, and there's so many modalities. I just came across another one this morning before my early stream. I came across another one, and I was just like, oh my God, this guy is sitting there talking to like 3 or 4 of us and telling us about his modality. And I'm going to share it with you real quick. What he does, he's a gamer, like a pencil and paper gamer. If you don't know what that means, Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop games type of things. And he utilizes his dice, and he wrote a Python program. And what he's doing is using that Python program to do his tarot stuff. And I thought that was the coolest thing.
That's cool
that somebody came up with that as their modality. And I thought, wow, I love it. I love the creativity of our fellow humans. It gets me in the feels. per
Yeah,
se.
I mean, that's, well, at the end of the day, we're all creators, right? So it's like, yeah, I feel like every single one of us, even on this live and in general, like, and Josh and Ben and um, everyone is, in fact, um, and essentially we're creating new ways of doing things. You know what I'm saying? Like things that have been done for so long, we're because we've raised our consciousness, right? So it's like we're now open to things that are available at a higher frequency. I feel like um, something that you may, I mean, shit, maybe something like that might have been around a long time ago. You just weren't ready for it, you know?
Yeah, and you know the thing is something I want to add on that because I had a discussion with one of my friends, you know,
Hmm.
in this community or a couple days ago, and I said something. Well, maybe this thing is like this thing, and kind of got jumped on by my friend in a way that was not super positive,
Interesting.
and basically told that I was wrong about talking about telepathy, which is not my specialty. I mean, everyone would love to have it, but uh, I one thing, regardless if I agree with people's modalities or the way they do things, and I shared this with my community, you know, over on my channel, is you know I'm never going to tell someone they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think we run into sometimes. And if somebody approaches us or our work or our modalities in that manner, hey, God bless them, source bless them, however you want to say that. But if
Mhm.
they're going to come tell me I'm wrong, most likely they're missing some lesson, some medicine in
Mhm.
their makeup. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
As if they're coming to me and they're parsing out, hey, or it's that thing that I am the authority on this. Hey, you know, I'm just a host. I'm an intermediary for the work that I do. And you know, we work on the person, then we work on the planet. And you know, I'm not taking anything from anyone. I'm just helping focus their energies. And for somebody to come to me and say, "Hey, well, you know, you got to follow this law and that law and so on and so forth." Well, who you know, okay, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to say that to you. Who are you to say that to me because
Yeah.
of your understanding? I like
Mhm.
to preface things. Hey, this is my understanding or my knowledge in this area is this. Is it
Mhm.
the finite? Is it the fact? Hell, I'm never going to say that to someone. It's just
Yeah.
my understanding. And there's thousands of paths, guys. You know that. There's
Oh yeah.
thousands of paths to get there. And it's just one of those things. So if you're perhaps one of those people listening to us right now, and I'm not trying to jab anyone or anything like that, that maybe you have something that you need to look at, some medicine that you haven't received. If you're walking out there as the authority of this, and you know, so there's some programs out there that tell people, hey, you got to be the authority on what you're doing. Well, I think you be the authority in your realm, but to present yourself as the end all be all, hey, you know, perhaps that's going to take a little bit more
Yeah.
interior work. I don't know. I'm not going to judge the people because they are the way they are. And
Yeah.
I needed that experience. Apparently, I needed that medicine, the medicine from that experience. So it's been an interesting week.
It
And
really does. It really, really, a
and
lot of reflection, man.
and one more thing I want to throw out there. I'm sorry
Uh-huh.
for
No, no,
going on.
no.
Did you see the underground radar, and some of it's from satellite too, from the Giza plateau? You guys see this yet?
Nah.
Oh yeah, it broke yesterday. And then we have a train friend. That's awesome. But there's apparently columns underneath all the major pyramids in Giza. And all this stuff, all the data is coming out right now on X. And it is fascinating. But these columns go like 2 kilometers down into the surface. Yeah,
Wow.
and as an engineer, you know, even as a scientist, Eric, you would find it interesting to see this data because it's like all symmetrical and everything. It's not like just a bunch of random hodgepodge. But this goes to further support that whole thing that the pyramids are far more than just some ancient structure that somebody that we can't even, you know, have no idea how to build nowadays. But that far more in that line of being energy projectors or receivers in my mind.
Yeah.
So,
No, I
so
mean, There's all sorts of stuff of like the Sphinx being far older than like just based on the what is it, the water erosion on it. It's far older than like Egypt, and even the Egyptians were doing. There's really great notes about the ancient Egyptians basically doing refurbishment on the Sphinx even back in like 2000 BC. So like this thing's been there for thousands of years, and I mean, that just lends truth to things that have made it around the spiritual community and other communities of basically like all sorts of temples and other like catacombs and other things below the pyramids, and that it's a whole structure that is known about by the government but just isn't openly shared.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what somebody said to me? Like, you know, like the blocks of like stone that a lot of them are using, and they're so big and heavy. A lot of, you know, these like cathedrals that were built and stuff like that. And you got to wonder, you're like, how could they physically like lift those things, you know, and actually like replicate so many of them? But then I'm like, oh yeah, then, you know, it popped in my head, like, okay, they had like technologies like replicators, you know, and different, you know, because some people would question and wonder, you know, how did they do it, you know?
Would you like me to share my insight with that?
Yeah, I'd love to hear your. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so March, I just had a big anniversary. So the 12th of March is whenever I had this third eye event that I've spoken about. I think I've shared it before. And what did I see in that third eye event? I saw two men crafting these stones in place, but they were crafting them with their hands like this. They weren't hammering and chiseling them. They were doing it like this. And I saw this stone appear. So in my understanding, according to that third eye event I had and that download of information, I think they were crafted in place. And I don't think it was very difficult for the people, because it looked like it may have been sound and energy, something like that. And what's the lesson in seeing that? Well, it got me started on my path now the next day, but I haven't sat and bisected all of exactly what they were doing. But think about it. If they were crafted in place very easily with sound and with energy, then wow, we've got some serious relearning to do. That's exciting.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I was telling Eric, I'm not going to go in depth about it because it's like a lot of information, and it's very, yeah, it's going to end up, you know, like I was telling you before, it's kind of speaking on a few things on what you just touched on, and I'm definitely curious to hear your. I've heard kind of Eric's side, but you know, if he wants to mention it on here, but I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go fully into detail in this episode. You know, it's just going to be a little bit so we can touch on it because it's a lot. But what are your thoughts on like, you know, there being, okay, so, you know, you have like the dark and then you have the light, you know, so to speak. But then
Duality.
there's some duality, but then there's some truth communities that would say like, oh, there's no dark, there's no light, it's all one because it's all comes from source, and you know. But then I heard they showed me another take on it, and they showed me like, okay, I'll use like an analogy or some sort, you know, like one person has love for, I don't know, football, and another person you would have like someone that has love for murdering people. And I'm going to use that extreme because it's still a form of love, right? So like this individual has the love for murder, but like that's their perception of it, right? That's the way they look at it from love. Like, I love doing this, just like I love playing football, you know. But it's like two different, completely different like sides of the coin, you know, because of the way that we see it, right? And so then I'm like, okay, so a lot of people will say, well, you don't really have
you need to sit forward, brother.
Oh, you can't hear. You can't hear me?
I saw that somebody was having problems hearing you back there.
How does it sound now?
Now too loud.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There
Yeah,
you
I kind of figured maybe it's this microphone, man. Maybe I have to. Is it good now, everybody?
Yeah, I can hear you great now.
Okay. So let me get the
Sorry
way to
about that.
deliver that. No, it's part. Yeah, I did actually see somebody say that, and I was gonna actually, I wanted to address it, but so a lot of people in the spiritual community, they everything is one, everything's connected. We don't really have that, that duality. But like, do you see? Because before I kind of go into more of it, do you see that there is darkness and light? And do you see it from a place of, well, this is the way this person perceives love? Like this is the vibration and frequency that they're at, which is the lower states of frequency and vibration, which is kind of what the awakening is all about. Us raising our frequency and our vibration and going to the new earth at a higher frequency. Raising it above like these lower frequencies. But then there's people that I've heard speak of like, you can't rid the 3D of the suffering and of fear and all the different things, which I don't really resonate with. I haven't really gone fully into what I was receiving in downloads, but I want to just start here because it's a lot already.
Okay, so what is your question specifically?
So my question is like, at what point do you believe, as far as like when it comes to like these lower frequencies and vibrations of fear and the things we've all been in, the suffering, the separation, is that a part of what is your feeling on? Is it a part of us coming here and expanding? Is it a part of us evolving that we need to experience in that way? I'm asking you because I have a different take on it, and I want to just hear.
Are you asking me or Eric?
Yeah. Both of you can answer it, but you could go first.
Go ahead. Go. Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I believe that when we incarnate, all right, and we were talking about this over on Wayne's channel earlier, and Wayne is awesome, by the way. I'll have to share him with you guys if you don't know about him. But I think that we incarnate, and if we've done this multiple times, and we were talking about all these soul connections that we have, and you think about it, now we come together on the internet and we have all these amazing connections. And think about if we've had 1,000 past lives and we're culminating with it right now, then we all could have feasibly had very, very interactive and meaningful relationships with everybody that's here right now. And it's fun to think about. However, I think we incarnate as well for experiences, because anything that's deemed positive or deemed negative is still an experience. All right. Because even though, you might get a new car and you're like so super excited about your new car, positive experience, right? Deemed positive. But then you go out and have a terrible wreck and you're laid up for 6 months. So you see that deemed positive experience wasn't exactly such a positive experience. But while being laid up, you may have found salvation in something. You may have found your spiritual self. So I think the duality going forward, like for our planet, I think it's necessary to have. You have to have one. You always have one with the other, as far as I'm concerned. Although many believe that as we are going to the 5D, as we push through this darkness, that we're going to go into singularity and just into the light, which would be awesome. After having this experience that we've had thus far, I think it would be awesome to go into that and live the rest of my life in the light, purely in the light. I think in an age of enlightenment. But it's like we're going to jump around a little bit here, but it's like there's that percentage, and I may have touched on this last week, that cannot grasp things that happen. They cannot get it. And what is that, 4 to 6%? Like in the UFO community, they believe that if aliens come down and land on the White House lawn and all our politicians are saying, hey, this is real, aliens present themselves, no matter how much proof you give that to them, they're always going to disagree with you. They're not going to, that's cognitive dissonance. They're not going to be able to do it. And in one of my previous groups that I was part of, we believe that there's going to be 3 to 5% that don't make it, that don't transcend when the transition happens, because they're holding the dark for us. They're holding the dark. They love us enough as souls to perform their function so that so the rest of us can move into the light. That's the way I see it. And it kind of resonates with me. And you still have that darkness to get everybody to push through into the light. And then these people, well, whatever happens to them is whatever's in their path, whatever they signed up for.
Well, then you have like the sides that see like, oh, there's reptilians, which we all have aspects of us, right? And they're the ones controlling things from different, off planet, some people say, and then, obviously like on planet, and controlling these different things because of the frequency, I'll just use someone was saying that if you have to expand no matter what it is. So if you are like have love for something that someone would deem bad or of the dark, like I said, like murder, you still have to expand and evolve at that level of frequency, or if you're in these lower density frequencies, you still have to expand, so you're now expanding in that frequency. Even when you, as a human form, your soul is still expanding in that frequency.
So maybe they're expanding. They go from murdering humans to just murdering animals. Is that expansion?
I mean, well, from what I gather, a lot of these, they hang out in these lower realms, in these lower vibrations and frequencies too. And a lot of us have experienced it anyway, where, you're like pulled in, you hit rock bottom of some sort, and then you're pulled into fear, and you're pulled into, and like
those lower frequencies, sure.
Those lower frequencies where there's entities that can essentially attach to, if you believe that, that are hanging around there too. And a lot of us, listen, a lot of us that are here with these missions have adversity that we've gone through. There's like every turn we go, there's something trying to like pull, like what people would say the devil, or Satan, the devil's coming, whatever. I don't know how the religion says it, but I feel like look, a lot of people I've followed, and the things that I'm starting to receive now is that the planet has been controlled for thousands of years by, I guess you could say higher dimensional beings, but yet at a lower frequency, and it's now coming to a head, like what we're seeing with all the GOV and these different things that are all corrupt and manipulative, and the suppression of medical and suffering and all of it. There's I gotta believe that there's something, at least another aspect of us that is involved in that, because we're all one at the end of the day. At least I believe that too,
Well,
so what is your feeling on all of that?
I think that the DS, the deep state, I might as well just say it, I think they know they're losing. That the times are changing. The vibrational frequency of our planet is increasing daily, hourly. Yes. And it's like every little, let's stage this, or let's stage this protest or that protest, because they're losing power. And their power is the most important thing to them, is power over other people. And really, you've got people like us that just want to love people and show them freedom, and show them enlightenment, and show them there's a way, and have them step into their power. And that's what the DS doesn't want. That. No, they want you to be 9 to 5, keep your nose to the grindstone, be a good worker, and we will manipulate you and push you this way and push you that way, and feed you poison food, and basically control every aspect of your life.
But the kicker is with that is a lot of them, they are whatever you want to call it, like these, from what I'm gathering, they have not forgotten like we've forgotten.
Oh, they still use their rituals, and a friend of mine.
Yeah, and they have not forgotten their past lives. They have not forgotten the abilities and the powers that they actually have. Whereas majority of humanity has forgotten, especially once you go through the birth canal and you come through, you forget everything, you know. But they're figuring out that they don't have to do that. That they can skip that process and they can come back and forth, which is something that we're going to be able to do in the new Earth, you know, with along with everything else that we've, you know, our DNA activating and all these different things that have kind of kept us at bay, so that we continue to keep coming back and forgetting, you know, and keep the matrix going, so to speak, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
keep it going for them. And
yes,
I
yes,
think we're about to have an amazing awakening as more and more systems collapse, as we
yes,
see that governments, not only ours, not only the one in the United States, but
yes,
many of them you're going to find out are super corrupt. And it's to keep us at the grindstone. You see, keep us from knowing our, stepping in and starting
hmm,
to ask more. Hey, there's more outside of what we've just been told or presented to us.
hmm,
Many people, even in religion, think that many of the religions have been corrupted throughout the centuries intentionally to
Yeah.
keep people out of their power.
oh yeah, and keep you well. Look, like you said, the 9 to 5 and all that stuff is to keep you distracted and forgetting and disconnected, you know, because the more they can do that, the more you'll end up leaving this life incarnation still not remembering anything, and then choosing to come back and doing it all over and the same process again, you know, and keeping it going essentially, you know,
Uh,
keeping them in power and um, you know,
They
and I
want you. Go ahead.
yeah, no, it's just because I do believe, like you said, like enough is enough. We've gotten to the point where uh, the veil's thinning. We're realizing it. Everyone's learning to p- preach, keep your frequency high. All these different things that you would never have heard like 10 years ago, you know, or 20 years
Oh
ago.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And we're hugging each other now instead of eating our fist. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh my God, that's where they want us because
yeah,
fear is an energy. They like to feed off that fear, and that
yes,
goes back to your reptilian comment. Because
yeah,
from what I understand, the reptilians love to keep us in fear.
yeah, yeah, and
I just had a additional comment on
yeah,
your discussion of the church and like a lot of the main systems of like clerical power and all that stuff. I did I've been doing like Reiki healings for like reptilians, Illuminati. I did it a couple of days ago for the church and whatnot, and it's all been really fascinating because when I did the one for the Catholic Church, what I saw was, back in the 300s, they had the Council of Nicaea, which was where they started to consolidate all of the biblical texts into a like codified, like unified set of documents that they could like spread in a controlled manner throughout stuff. And so there's all sorts of like it's known in their discussions that a bunch of like texts and whatnot didn't make it into the official Bible and they've been kept secret and all this other stuff. But it was fascinating because as I was like going through this healing for that, I I get different visions like when I do these of like to like help guide me to like what energy needs like transmuted or helped or assisted and all that.
That's
And
really
one of the
cool, by the
thing,
way.
oh, thank you. But one of the things that came up was like during these meetings, like with all of these high level like papal like bishops and people within the Roman like courts and all this other stuff, like they had like actual incarnations of angels and like Yeshua and all these like all the prophets who actually wrote these, like literally showing up in the court and basically saying, if you take these out, like it's gonna be bad for you. Like you're creating karma. Like you're intentionally changing, altering the texts so that they don't have the intended effects that they were supposed to have. And it was by their own decision, they decided to just ignore these visions, ignore these heeds, and go with what they had. And that's where they created all this karma now that's coming back 100, 1,000 fold with the awakening of everybody today. So
Mm.
it was just one of the fascinating things I saw. And like, yeah, like they even knew back in the day, like kind of what they were doing, but they still made those decisions.
Continue to do it, right? Yeah. Oh,
Interesting. Wow. That's Dale in our chat makes a good point, and let's shout out to Dale. He's all the way from South Africa, of all places.
Oh wow.
But he mentions
Yeah.
alcohol, entertainment, schools, institutions, churches, etc. Think about it. We come back to bread and circuses. You see, and even today. But think about how I used to be ate up with sports. I used to
Yeah.
love it. Used to love it,
Yeah.
and spent an inordinate amount of my time. And now I've come to realize I spend that time doing more satisfying things. But look at how sports are dropping off now, becoming less
Yeah.
and less important. And you see, and even Hollywood, the whole Hollywood, venerating movie stars and these celebrities. It's dropping off now. People are seeing through it. The veil is lifting, and it's beautiful because people are seeing through that. This person adds nothing except for insecurity. What else? What do celebrities make you feel? Well, if they do a good job, it could be entertaining. But really, is that entertainment the type of entertainment that you need when you
No.
get down to it? Is that really what feeds your soul? And I think more and more people are taking that step. Hey, and it's not even probably maybe not even aware of it. But look, you might walk in to your other room, you leave this call, and you light some incense. And you just do it out of habit now. You light some incense and put on some cool music, some 432 hertz or something, and maybe make some lunch, and you don't even think about it. You don't need that constant blah, 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 that constant Josh, who's hanging around our chats. He's jumping from channel to channel, which is awesome, as many people are. He talks about tell lies vision all the time, and he may have mentioned it before, but they call the shows they put on their programs. Hello,
Yeah.
and fewer people are embracing this. Most people are finding their information on various social media nowadays. And what's that do? That breaks that whole conduit of being able to program people.
But you know what though? Like, could you remember, like, okay, I want to ask you both this, okay? Because I remember when I was younger in my 20s, okay, yes, I did a bunch of drugs and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I stole things. And there was some sort of high that you got from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe it was the thrill of like stealing it. I don't know. Like, and it's almost like these individuals that have gotten to this point, like the stealing, the corruption, the lying, all of it. It's like almost like they get off on it. They have it's like that feeling of love is almost the same type of love you would have for your partner, you know what I'm saying? But like in a different way. But yet it sounds twisted, right? But at the same time, it's like they're getting like more and more of a high. Not to say that it's right, and I'm not saying that, but to get to the point, it's like greed, almost, like where you're like just building this empire for yourself to get to like $1 billion. Like, when is the ceiling enough? Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you got $1 billion now, like, but yet you want to keep going because it's like there's this rush that you get to keep going, and keep more and more for self,
And when is it enough?
Yeah, and I almost feel like a lot of these people in the GOV and in these judges and all these kind of things are that's where they're at. They've been doing it for so long, they've gotten away with it, and it's keeping them in a certain like position of power to like, and they don't care who they hurt or what they do, like, who it impacts, because again, they're still seeing love, but like from a dark standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you guys think about that, but
go ahead, Eric.
Sure. So first off, sending love to Witchy Trista. That can't be easy and never fun. But no, there's a from stuff I've seen and read and heard from like Ram Dass when he talks about his teacher and all that out in India, like and even from other sources, like there's been this, like they always talk about that everything is love. Like if you go below, like to the true core of everything, like what is source, and that is love itself. And so everything is love because everything is one, and it goes to the unity of trying to see that as you develop spiritually and as you develop into mastery and different levels of all that, it's being able to see the love in every action, even when it causes pain, even when it causes immense suffering in the 3D realm and in this universe and whatnot, that deep below all that, it's it's setting up a story, or it's setting up an event for something to be overcome, or for some character development or something else. So even
So
if
it's the
it's
next step. So it's like,
yeah,
so it's the preface.
yeah, exactly. So it's and that goes into the, like Ram Dass like spoke on questions that he got during his sessions of, well, then things like the Holocaust, how can you at a higher level, how could 6 million souls all decide that, to equal out karma in some way, or to do something, or to create this message of peace and love for the world, or like Hiroshima. Like now Hiroshima, I've been very lucky to go there. Like they are just an incredible city, like all about peace and sharing their message with the world and all that stuff. And they experienced their own tragedy, and it's just it's hard to discuss at some levels, but it's also trying to see it from a higher level of this now gives us lessons of what is this technology capable of? What can we do at global, like industrial scales, and why should, and not
Okay.
allowing certain systems to go uncontrolled or unregulated or just off the rail, because these are the things that can be created from it. So
See, this opens up one of the rabbitest of holes.
I know. Yeah.
yeah,
I had to get my hecklefish in there. Think
yeah,
about it though. Those 6 million, and this is a tough one, you guys, is
Yeah.
those 6 million Holocaust survivors, perhaps they were paying off karma.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yes.
Well, who would want to pay off karma that way? Well, the thing is think about it.
It's
As
quick.
souls, yeah, it's an efficient way to pay off karma because they had some purpose, or maybe they're paying it off from being the oppressor previously in a previous life, a previous incarnation. So that's where we get in this hole, you see, because where does it stop? Is it a continual cycle of karma? Because shouldn't it balance out somewhere? Or is that continual cycles constantly giving us new and new medicine?
I mean, that's what Dolores Cannon said, like, I remember one of the specific instances she spoke of was Black Lives Matter, and how the cop and the
oh yeah,
individual that he choked contracted that before they came here, and look what it turned into. It created Black Lives Matter through them doing what they did, kind of like Martin Luther King did, or a lot of other.
Yeah, I mean that was even what Floyd was saying. Like last time we were here, is he had a past life where he was a coke addict that went to rob a bank, and the cop shot him in the back, and they had that whole deal prior to that event, that or prior to incarnating both of them, that he would be there and he would do this very hard task of shooting him in the back just to cancel out whatever was occurring or whatever karma needed to be done in that lifetime.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and you know, another angle too is it may not even be karma.
Yeah.
It could be that, hey, you signed up, you love that soul. So whoever shot Josh in the back loved him enough as a soul to
Yep.
give him that experience.
Give them
And
that.
Josh loved that person enough, that cop or that security guard enough to give that security guard that experience. Even though it's deemed not a positive experience, it is still an experience.
Yes.
Because you think about our higher forms, in my understanding, our highest form, our highest, absolutely highest form, our crystalline form, where we are just pure energy and thought. All right, let's say it that way. What do we do here? What we come and have these incarnations. Wait, let's back up. Think about us at our highest level. What would we do? What would we do being all knowledgeable, all powerful? What would we do to give ourselves purpose? We'd create scenarios, we'd create this,
Yep.
we'd create that to come down and have experiences, whether deemed positive or deemed negative, to give us some purpose in our lives, like the spiritual thing that we're on. Yeah, even the spiritual journey. This could be implanted from us, from our higher selves. Hey, this is part of what you need to do. You need to go have this experience, a spiritual experience, even though once it's over and we get back to our crystalline form, our highest level, hey, we're like standing around just sitting there visiting, saying, "Oh my God, I just did 20 lifetimes on Earth. It was freaking awesome. Highly recommend it." Even though it sucks at times and you're going to wonder why you did it. But the thing is, it's still a very valuable experience. And that could be looked at as a cheat code in a way. When you start getting out there, you start looking out there higher and higher. You start looking and think, wow, had this experience and this experience and this experience, both deemed positive or negative, still an experience.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Then it contradicts kind of like what some speak. What about like what's happening currently, and how things are being revealed and these individual, you know what I'm saying? And we're moving into this golden age, new earth, you know. If we deem to have the experiences, then why is it ending? Why is people are saying, "Oh, the Matrix is going to end in 2028 completely," because we've had 26,000 years of, I guess, the darkness, and now it's 1,000 years of light, right?
Hey, that's what we signed up for. I could do 1,000 years of light. Come back here a few more times.
I'm not saying I can't do it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, that's, I've like been waiting for that probably
See-
for lifetimes,
See how good it feels just talking about that?
Oh my God.
It feels amazing.
It feels, yeah, just like imagining that you like flying on hoverboards and freedom and me flying like Superman, so like I was,
Hey,
yeah.
telepathy too. There you go. Telepathy.
Oh yeah, telepathy, our 12 strands of DNA activating, our psychic senses, our remembrance. I mean, the remembrance in itself.
Yeah. Well, and I find it interesting. Like, if you go back to some of the stuff that Yeshua said, he said essentially, like, all this and more, like, not only are you capable of, but you'll do. And I just find it interesting. We've had these 70 some odd years now of all these superhero comics, all this sci-fi, all these like cool people with all these abilities. And now it's like, well, yeah, we're going to be able to do so much more than they did just because we've got this expanded imagination of what could be done. We've had like 70 years of conditioning of what superheroes can do. So when we realize we're the superheroes, sky's the limit for what we can do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier about these billionaires and how much is enough and so on and so forth. Think about it. Think about if all of us became billionaires right now, all of us, everybody here right now, however many people are here. And yeah, we might pay off a few things and maybe buy a new car and pay off our house, stuff like that, take care of our family. But you know what we're going to do? You know what we would do? And I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I'm going to speak for myself. Just think about how much good you could do with that. You're still bringing in money from your company or whatever it is, whatever your cause is. But think about, and I ask everyone, I'll throw it out there. Think about the things that you would do. Think about the things that you would do and just put those out there. Put them out there in the collective consciousness. Think about all the wonderful things you could do with $1 billion and build it out there. Because guess what? Darren, your stuff, Eric, your stuff is going to build on top of my stuff. My stuff's going to build with your stuff. And we're going to build this amazing thought out there of what we can do, of what we can build, put it out there in the collective consciousness. But see, that's the difference between us and somebody that is focused on power, focused on wealth, focused on control. Yeah, because with $1 billion, there's a certain amount of freedom. Financial freedom is definitely a level of freedom, but somewhere in there, it goes from freedom to what's the word? Oppression. Because you're so focused on that control, so focused on the power that it brings you, that it could be corruptive. So
like my question to both of you, okay, because this is another thing, is when you just stated about billionaires, right? There's very few of them. There's very few millionaires compared to what you would call middle class and, the, lower class, if you want to call it that, whatever, whatever they deem it, that's another thing that I question. Why is there such an imbalance to more people?
That's the way it's designed.
Well, yeah, that's the part that I don't understand the learning process in that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so the ones that have the endless amounts of wealth are ones that aren't doing good or positive for humanity, but then the ones that don't have it want to do it, but don't have the capability because they don't have the resources. And there's a massive imbalance, and that's something that I've questioned and contradicted with, like, some of the stuff that even we were both just talking about. You know what I mean?
But that's why that's why we're born in debt, man. As soon as we come in, we take our first breath, we're in debt. We're in debt $1,000. We're in debt here, or our parents are in debt, and that's the way the system is designed to keep it. The DS, we'll go back to them, but they design it to keep us at the grindstone all the time. And now that that's breaking down, people are opening, the veil's lifting, because people are saying, hey, wait a second, our government and our country has been spending billions and trillions of dollars on grift, lining people's pockets, getting into public service and coming out multi-millionaires, doing stuff that we're not allowed to do.
But is that supposed to be for the expansion of our soul, is what I'm saying,
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that part.
Oh, yeah. Like, or the part of the experience like you spoke of earlier. That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. Because like, okay, we contracted to come down and do whatever we did, but like, why is the majority, and then why is there specific gurus, if you would call them gurus, that have the answers and the workshops, and you got to spend $25,000 with Robin, whatever his name is, I forgot his name now. That one guy that's like $25,000 for like one day seminar, Tony Robbins,
Oh, Tony Robbins.
Yeah, and you have like these specific. Why do they have the answers? It's like select people that have a lot of money, and then like the majority is clueless and lost and struggling, but you only have a few that have this wisdom, this supposed wisdom, and then millions of dollars and billions of dollars. You know what I mean? But then the imbalance that's where I'm like. I wonder, and I question.
Well, Chloe points out maybe
you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe that imbalance creates the duality needed until the time arises for change. Because look, the change is upon us, and I'm not jealous of anybody that's a billionaire. My God, no.
Sure.
I would love to be able to affect change the way they do, but everything in its time. And the time is coming. The time is coming. Things are changing rapidly now, and I'm going to embrace it and go with the flow. It's
100%. It's just
yeah.
It's just like you wonder, okay, if it's like a lot of people say, like the soul expansion and contracts and this and that, and then you have like these medical systems that are not for our highest good, and then you have people that have the funds and it's not for our highest good. You know what I mean? And then you are like, okay, is this is it supposed to be this way? Like, I was wondering this when I was a kid, even the government and all this kind of stuff, Like it never added up to me, or even remotely, no matter what anybody said, you know.
So I will say from what I've heard and seen from channeling myself and then from other channels that I've seen like channel on this question is that the Earth experiment, we'll call it, is has been a grand opportunity for all these different experiences to occur that haven't been able to occur anywhere else in the world. I mean, just think about the uniqueness of Appalachia and coal, like the coal towns. Think of like the uniqueness of California. Think of like everything that's come up in like Italy versus Greece versus Paris versus China, like the insane cultural differences and how we're all able to like be so different but also like talk to each other and be around each other. Like that hasn't and how it is so different in such a small space relatively, like that experience and that type of structure hasn't necessarily maybe ever been experienced anywhere else, and now we've been able to create this experience for us, for the universe, for source as all of us, so that we could experience it. And it absolutely doesn't make sense, but that's how it that's how it came about for what we created collectively through all of our lifetimes here on Earth.
To create what we're actually experiencing now, which like a lot of people will blame and and point the finger, but in actuality, we all played a role in where we're at currently and where we're headed in many different lives. It's kind of hard to hear for some people, but like quite literally, there's a lot of lives that we were unconscious and asleep and not conscious of things that we were doing and how we were doing it and how it was going to affect humanity going forward.
And perhaps this is the culmination. Perhaps this life is the culmination of thousands of them, hundreds of them, 50 of them.
Yes. Where it's finally we're like, oh, we're conscious and we're becoming conscious. And to be this conscious and living is so freaking amazing. And a gift, and a gift. And it's a gift to be here with you guys and to deep diving, going down these rabbit holes, man. This, like Dale said, this is like to me one of the best roundtables. I love these conversations, and even though I think a certain way, I want to hear other people's perspectives, like you guys and everybody else, and see how you can look at it differently or whatever, higher perspective, like Eric said. It's so dope, man, to have these conversations, man, especially with you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate the invitation, Darren.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Our hour goes quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does, but I love it, man. I'm really like enjoying like these conversations, man. This is what we came here for, and yeah, it's opening us up to remember, more and more and more, and yeah, you guys are doing beautiful work, man, and I'm grateful to,
as you are,
walk this journey both and with everyone that we are,
Yeah, and thank you everybody for showing up and watching. We really do appreciate it.
Oh yeah. I mean, we missed a lot of the comments. There was tons of
them. Yeah. And perhaps we'll I'm going to throw this out here. Perhaps next week we can talk about the Earth.
Okay.
And the firmament. Is it round? Is it flat?
Oh, Jesus.
I know. I would like to at least have a segment on that, because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. Especially an aerospace engineer. I would love to hear that.
Listen, at the end of the day, man, my friend that I was doing a podcast with for like over a year and a half, yeah, he was into that flat Earth, round Earth thing. And at the time, like a year and a half ago, I didn't want to get into it because people were like choking people out for like their opinion, Yeah, I mean,
well, if it's too volatile,
it's not. I'm not like that. None of us are like that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that's the way like a lot of people can be with that topic. But I'm open to hearing your guys' sides. I would love to. I don't really have an opinion about it, so yeah. And I like that you brought up a topic because I know Eric mentioned that last time. Like we should come up with a topic, you know. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
and Heaney mentioned it too. Come on, you guys, stick to a topic.
yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
Heaney's a awesome friend of all of ours here. Well, most of the people here know Heaney. So,
Mm,
all right, Heaney, you're gonna get your wish.
yeah.
Maybe. There we go.
Maybe, yeah. Depending on how long that topic will last, But yeah, I'm open to that. I'm open. I love it. I love this whole thing and what we're doing. And I was gonna ask you for photos, and then I realized you sent me photos, so I'm gonna try to take some time and add Ben and Josh to that thumbnail.
Yeah.
Photos you sent me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Ben and Josh. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it or get it together, just let me know, and I can put something together.
Okay. Yeah. I'll let you know. Yeah. Thank you both. This was like amazing and awesome.
Someone's doggo.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Cool.
And thank all of you, everyone, for coming by and hanging out with us for the last hour.
Yeah, man. You guys are awesome. And you guys are awesome, and everyone on the chat is awesome, and everybody watching the replays is awesome. And thank you, man.
Heck yeah. And I'll see most of you tonight at 9:45 Eastern. And maybe I'll see you and Eric there too, Darren.
Yeah.
Possibly.
For me, I mean, I definitely have to say that I'll make the morning one more than I would make the night one, but
yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna. I did come by one of the days, like a week.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I saw you.
I'll be there though, man. I'm gonna come this week. Why not? If I have an opportunity, I will definitely.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too, man. Take care,
You
everybody.
too.
Love you all.
Victor. See you guys.
See you soon. Take care, everyone.